It began not with a ceremony, nor with an announcement, but with a locked room and a sealed envelope. Inside Windsor's oldest chamber, beneath the worn stone archways of secrecy, a single document was retrieved from a vault untouched since the passing of Prince Philip. Sir Andrew Macfarlane, keeper of the royal wills, opened it under the guarded light of early morning. 3 names were written inside, but only one was underlined. Catherine. There was no preamble, no flourish. Just a sentence, deliberate, resolute, final. To her, I entrust what must endure. Those words, carried with trembling hands to Kensington Palace, shattered every assumption within the royal household. For Queen Camilla, it was a thunderclap. For King Charles, a puzzle he was never meant to solve. And for Catherine, it was the weight of a legacy older than any crown, etched not in gold, but in the quiet will of a man who had seen empires crumble and rise again. The content of the will, never meant for public eyes, revealed something that would never appear on any honors list. Philip had created, in secret, a private stewardship, a guardianship of purpose, tasked with carrying forward the soul of his lifetime's work, the integration of monarchy and modernity, of tradition and relevance. It was not a title. It was a mission. And he had given it to her. Not to his son, not to his queen. But to the quiet woman who had once walked into his family as a commoner, and now stood as the axis on which it would turn. Camilla, whose military affiliations with the Rifles had once been symbolically confirmed by Philip himself, was blindsided. She had worn the regiment's brooch at his funeral. She had attended every parade, every briefing, every remembrance. Her allegiance to the forces was not theatrical, it was lived, sincere, endured through years of quiet service. And yet, despite all this, it was Catherine, not Camilla, who would now be keeper of Philip's unspoken code. The Queen Consort remained silent in public. But behind the gates of Clarence House, there was fury. Not performative, but visceral. Not because of ambition, but because of betrayal. It was not a question of succession. It was about recognition. For decades she had fought to be seen. Now she was being overlooked once more, not by the press, but by the patriarch himself. The household was split, whispers filled the corridors of Sandringham and Balmoral. Princess Anne reportedly refused to comment, but her absence from a recent military dinner attended by Camilla was noted. William stood resolutely behind his wife, but there was something harder in his gaze that week, something inherited, perhaps, from the grandfather who had taught him that duty was often made of pain. But Catherine said nothing. She received the letter in private. It was delivered by hand, and when she opened it, alone, she wept. Not from fear, not from pressure. But from the solemn, devastating knowledge that the last man who truly saw the monarchy for what it could become had chosen her to carry it forward. She did not speak, she did not appear before cameras. But that week, she made 3 unannounced visits, one to a youth centre in Leeds, one to a military rehab facility in Wiltshire, and one to a rural school supported by the Prince of Edinburgh's award programme. No press. No photographers, just present, just action. Just her, showing that she understood exactly what Philip had meant. It was not about pageantry. It was about people. What had been disclosed privately began to echo publicly. A single line in a Sunday editorial suggested that Catherine had inherited a personal charter of values from the late prince. Another insider remarked off record that Camilla had been left in the dark regarding several ceremonial roles that were once presumed to be hers. The tension within the palace was no longer a whisper, it was a storm system moving beneath marble. And it would not pass quickly. Philip had played a longer game than anyone realized. He had seen Catherine not as an accessory, but as a catalyst. Someone who could speak with calm, act with precision, and never allow herself to become the center of attention, yet always remain the heart of the effort. She was not chosen for her smile, nor for her title. She was chosen for her silence. A silence that, in the face of legacy, would roar louder than any crown. And now, with the monarchy teetering between reverence and reinvention, it is Catherine, not the reigning queen, who holds the script for the next chapter. Not as ruler, but as steward, not with scepter, but with purpose. Some say Camilla has been sidelined. Others say Catherine has simply stepped into the path fate had been carving for years. But those closest to Prince Philip know the truth. He had always admired the ones who led without asking. The ones who served without boasting. The ones who understood that royalty is not earned, but proven. And in Catherine, he saw the one person who would never mistake the throne for the mission. She does not rule, but she leads. And now, she carries the final oath of a man who built the bridge between what the monarchy was, and what it might become.